afternoon, everybody. I'm here on July 3rd at a place on the Hood Canal, which is super beautiful. Hood Canal is a inlet of water in Washington State that's just very beautiful. And my mom used to work at this cancer retreat center about 15 years ago. And so we've been coming here every year on July 3rd, and they set off fireworks a day early. And we just hang out. It's, you know, a very peaceful place. It's a cancer retreat center, so like I'm walking through this labyrinth here right now, and it's very cool because when I was a kid I used to come walk through this, come through these shells, and it's just very peaceful, very calming to walk through, be out in this kind of isolated area and just kind of get some peace for a little bit, you know. So I thought this was a great place. This would be a great place to try out the new 50mm lens that we bought last week and kind of compare this camera versus the camera we bought and the two different 50mm lenses, which I will explain in just a minute. And we have this awesome tree here, which is so cool because people, since I was a kid, have been putting little things in here. Obviously they get taken out and such like that, but I've always seen things stuck into the trees like this. Cool little knickknacks and whatever, little sentimental things that are placed around the tree. There's like money in here from a different country and little rocks and stuff like that. So yeah, why don't we just take a seat on one of these benches and talk about these lenses. Of the 50mm, they have three main 50mm lenses. One is the 1.8, the 1.4, and the 1.2. The lower the number goes, the higher quality the lens is, the better it is in low light, the sharper the image is, etc. So 1.2, this lens here is, you know, practically should be the sharpest lens. This is the 1.4, still very nice, solid metal, and the 1.8 I've actually never owned. Both of these lenses I bought from people who thought they were 1.8 lenses. The price difference is that a 1.8 costs maybe $100, $90 on Facebook Marketplace you can buy them for. The 1.4 costs around $250, $225 maybe, and the 1.2 costs somewhere around $1,000. That's why when I got this lens last weekend, somebody thought they were selling the lower quality version of this. I don't know how, I don't know why, but on the Facebook post on Marketplace, it said in the description 1.8, f1.8 lens, but it showed this lens, which is a 1.2, which is the $1,000 lens, not the $100 lens. So I told them, yeah, I'm gonna come get it. I went and picked it up. They said, yep, $1,000 for this lens and the camera that I bought, which is also worth somewhere between $800 and $1,000. Yeah, so today I just kind of wanted to test these out, kind of talk about a little bit, the practicality, just everything about these lenses, the build quality, everything. So let's get into it. Wow, did you guys see that? That was so cool, seeing those little birds. They've been going in and out all day. Those little baby birds, I can see them right now out that window. The little baby birds, there's a few of them in there, and all the parent birds are like, you can see them swooping around in the air, and they'll come down and feed the baby birds, and that is just such a cool experience. You can get so close. Literally, with my camera, with that 50mm lens, I was probably this far, like maybe this far, but like seriously, I'm so close. And the baby bird poking his head out, staring at me. It's just so cool, so cool. So the lenses, I used both lenses on both cameras. All the images look really, really good. I'm really excited to put them on a computer and see really if there's a big difference between the full frame sensor camera, the Canon, and the Panasonic camera that I use with an adapter for those Canon lenses. just to see the quality. It's got a smaller sensor, but they both look really good. They both look really sharp. So I'm excited to put them on a computer and really examine them closer. Yeah, overall, that's just so cool. It's so awesome being out here on the Hood Canal for the 4th of July, 3rd of July. So I hope you guys enjoyed those shots and the slow motion, and we'll see what we can get next. So I think that was a pretty good example of using the two different lenses on the two different cameras. You can see kind of the blur, the focus, a lot of that kind of stuff. So we will look at them on the computer when we get back, and until then I'm just going to enjoy this sunset going down. Just went down and I saw a plane out there. There's a plane sitting on the water out there with the sunset, and it just looks so gorgeous. I went and took a little slow-mo video for you guys and did a few pictures. It looks so gorgeous. So now it's time to just wait for the fireworks and maybe get some long exposure shots. Who knows? I think the fireworks are about to start. Oh, cool. Look at these little lights out here. This is awesome. I think everybody's getting set up. Look at all those boats out there. That is so cool. Look at all those boats. Dang. They're all out for the fireworks. That's awesome. Whoa, check it out. That is cool. You guys doing sparklers?
We're doing sparklers, yes.
Dope.
The big one.
You got A1? Hello? Whoops. Can't see a single thing on this.
Okay.
It's too dark, but... Oh yeah, they're here. Here we go. Oh yeah, look at this. Boom. So that was pretty fun. Saw the fireworks, did a few sparklers, and now I think we're gonna go to sleep. Maybe vlog a little in the morning, but I think we're just gonna look at some of those photos that we took today and kind of look at the different lenses. So night. See you later. So after reviewing the photos from this weekend, I've determined that there are three main things I can talk about between the lenses and the cameras. The first is the autofocus between the two lenses and how they performed. The second is the color between the two different cameras. And the third is the sharpness, the bokeh, and just the quality of the picture in general. Let's talk about autofocus. So the autofocus on the 50mm 1.4 was not as good as the 50mm 1.2. The 1.4 missed focus on some photos. I had the focus pinpoint just right on the bird, and for some reason the focus would lock here, it would lock behind, and as I was trying to get it to focus on the bird, it just totally missed focus, totally missed these awesome shots. Like this one's kind of cool, almost got in focus there, but I really wanted the focus to be here on the bird. 1.4 was not as good with autofocus, so practically not as good with a Canon. I never had a problem with it. Panasonic GH5 was not as good. So the next thing I want to look at is the sharpness and quality of the photos, not just between the two different lenses, but also between the two different cameras. The full frame Canon 5D Mark III compared to the Panasonic GH5 Micro Four Thirds, which has half the sensor size of the Canon. So like this photo here is taken on the Canon 5D Mark III, the 1.2 lens at f1.2, and you will see that the focus is there. This is the focus, but it's not like perfectly sharp. This photo looks great from here. When you punch in, it's not like super crispy, super sharp, but when we come back out to something like this, this is the 50mm 1.2, same camera, same lens, but at f2.8 is just heck sharp in focus, all the details of the little feathers and everything. Like, it's because f2.8 has a slightly larger range of focus. It's easier to get really sharp, really beautiful images. You still get a nice blur in the background and the foreground, but your subject is super, super sharp. So now my biggest question is about the quality between the two different cameras, because a full frame sensor should have much higher quality photos than a Micro Four Thirds camera, which is my Panasonic. So I would like to argue that the Panasonic GH5 takes just as good of photos as the Canon 50mm Mark III. This was taken on the 50mm 1.2 lens at f2.8 on my Panasonic GH5, and you can see just how sharp this is. Like, this is such a beautiful image. Like, it just nailed the focus, and this is on autofocus. This just nailed it. The edits on this is just a little bit of texture, a little bit of sharpening there, a little bit of noise reduction. This is the original, so you can still see just how sharp it is. I will say the Canon 50mm Mark III has just as good of images. So this image was taken on the Canon 50mm Mark III 50mm 1.2 lens at f2.8, and you can see that this has the same amount of sharpness, the same beauty, like the same, just like autofocus nailed it. It's just such a beautiful on-point image. So in terms of quality, probably depends on the lenses you're using, and if you know how to use your camera correctly, you will get really sharp, beautiful photos on any camera. That's just my opinion. So the third thing though is color. This is one really big difference, is that this here is on the 50mm 1.4 lens at f1.4, and when I change it from f1.4 up here to f2.8, the color changes drastically. You can see that. Like, it just gets so much greener, and it's literally just the f2.8. I did not change the white balance at all. I'm not on auto white balance. The ISO did change as well, so that could have had something to do with it. But the colors are just like going crazy over here with this. This is the Canon 50mm Mark III. You can see the colors are so much more natural. Like, this is really bright, but this is so much more natural looking. There may be some settings in my Panasonic camera to get it to this more natural looking color, but for the most part I mostly just make sure my lighting is correct and make sure that my white balance is correct. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the bokeh, which is basically just the blur of the two different lenses and how the lights look. The biggest difference I saw actually was in f2.8 between the two lenses. So this is the 1.4 lens at f2.8. You can kind of see the hexagons on these. Both lenses actually have 8 aperture blades, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see that there's 8 blades around these lights, but these are the lights in the 1.2 lens. You can see it's so much nicer, it's so much more circular. So that is the quality of the lens. Like, it just gives you so much nicer of a bokeh effect, nice round lights, round image. So yeah, that's my comparison between the two different lenses. I hope you guys liked the video, enjoyed some of the shots, the photos. I had a really fun time doing this and editing these photos, and I can't wait to post a few of them. I hope you guys will stick around for more videos in the future, watch some of my vlogs or whatever you want, and we'll see you guys in another one. Thanks for watching.